All right, so I'm gonna just do a risotto demonstration for you guys. You can see this technique. So risotto method, John will be making some of these here in a second, but remember we're gonna start off with hot fat in a pan. We're gonna saute onions and garlic, and then we're gonna saute our rice grains. We're using a short grain rice, we're using a Borio rice. This is gonna actually absorb a lot more liquid when it cooks, and it's gonna allow it to kind of get creamy. When we're cooking this, we're gonna stir it all constantly. Keep stirring, keep stirring, keep stirring. We're gonna add our liquid in stages and let it gradually absorb after each stage, each addition. So let's keep going. So, walking through this, oil in a pan, start heating it up. I like starting off real hot pan first, so we can get a good caramelization or get good color on our vegetables and our rice grains, okay? So, heat those things up. You want to make sure you have all your mise en place ready to go. I've got some white wine over here, we'll add to this. And I've got my stock. My stock is heated up. That's going to help it go faster, cook faster. Now, this will take us a little bit of time to cook this whole process all the way through, and it's going to be like constantly moving. There are some restaurants that do that from start to finish as you order it. So normally what you see restaurants do is they'll actually par cook this stuff, and you see almost any kind of grain, any kind of rice or something like that. They'll par cook it and then reheat as needed during service. Risotto is no different. They'll cook it where it's almost done and then add more stock and then kind of bring it back during service. That way you can make it a little more dynamic. You can do a cheese risotto, you can do a vegetable risotto kind of as you see fit in your restaurant. So we've got onions and garlic. Add those to our pan. Let them get sauteed. We're gonna try to build up flavor with this. Let them cook, let them sweat. Get the good smells going, good aromas going. Don't use a metal utensil. As this rice is cooking, you're gonna be stirring it. If you're using something metal, it's gonna break it up and it's gonna make little tidbits, like rice pudding. We already covered we don't like rice pudding. So we don't wanna have more rice pudding get made, okay? Plus, seeing these whole grains when they're out, when they're being served, is a much better visual for your guests. So we're gonna add our rice in here. Gonna stir it around a little bit. Let it get cooked. Now, the annoying thing about this is I don't actually have a recipe for this right here. I'm just making this. I'm just like showing you guys the process of it, and you don't need to have one if you're following a certain method. Yes, it makes it easier for costing and knowing how much you're gonna prepare, but for if you're at your house, you got like a cup of risotto left over or whatever, a little bit over, you can kind of eyeball it and make it work. We kind of talk about what we're gonna hit, what we're gonna look for when we get there. So this is happening right here. Now my first stage, I got a little bit of color on my rice. Again, that's building flavor. All right, we're sauteing, we got a little bit of color here that's gonna add more flavor to our dish. So what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna do my first addition, I'm gonna add some white wine. I'm gonna deglaze. I'm gonna add enough of it so it kind of comes up even with the level of my rice. And then I'm gonna stir. And I'm gonna constantly stir. And it's gonna slowly absorb. And this pan is, as it's absorbing, when it gets almost cooked out, almost dry, I'll start doing my stock. This is gonna add initial flavor of white wine. It's gonna deglaze any flavors in my saute pan that we may have already built up in here. All right, that's mostly absorbed. I'm gonna start adding my stock. And I'm gonna add enough liquid to just cover my grains. And I'm gonna keep stirring. So already, we mentioned that as you're stirring this, what you're doing is you're knocking the starch kind of off the outside of the grain. It's gonna start thickening up this liquid that it's gonna cook in. So already you can see starch content clouding our liquid, clouding our stock. It's getting into our rice, or it's getting into our liquid right here. It's gonna thicken it up. That's good, but it's not like instantly absorbed. And normally this will take about 3 additions of liquid to be fully cooked. So we're at 1 right now. Ooh. I'm gonna season this a little bit now, ahead of time. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Let it bring the flavor into it. Again, season your grains first. We might need to adjust seasoning later, but we want to make sure we have some in there. All right, so the liquid's mostly gone. I'm gonna add more. Again, just enough to kind of cover it. I don't want it swimming. The liquid's mostly gone. We're gonna end up adding some more to this. And I'll taste, after this third of this has been absorbed, I'll taste this. And then we'll go from there. We need to add any more liquid or what we gotta do as far as like seasoning and stuff. Yeah. Look, almost done with this risotto here. I'm gonna taste it again for texture. All right, grains are cooked. You can tell individual grains. They're not like crunchy, but they're there. So this is swollen up a lot. We've got some like starchy liquid on the outside of this. We're gonna end up adding a little bit of Parmesan cheese to it. All right, we're also gonna add a little bit of butter. Yeah, a little bit. Just a little bit. And we're just shaking around. And this is gonna be it. So y'all wanna get a chance to come up here and taste this. You can see what it looks like. Like I said, if you're gonna store this for later use, like you're gonna par cook it and then finish it during service, don't add fat to it. You also would have stopped it about when I added this last ladle of liquid. You would have stopped it there, showed it off on a sheet pan or something like that. If you're making this in a restaurant, you've got extras. The next day, this makes great arancini. So you take the risotto, you stuff it with like cheese or meat sauce, then you deep fry it. Oh my God, fat boy heaven.